Hey guys, Happy New Year and welcome back to another video. Today's video is going to be about the new Shiva challenge. So I'm going to share my own thoughts and probably this guide or the personal guide that I made will help you out in this brutal challenge quest. Let's get started. So here is a small diagram of what the Shiva challenge looks like. Unfortunately, I couldn't, although I tried to have a bird's eye view of the map. This is like the next best thing. So we can see here two lanes. The lane with Shiva and the lane without Shiva. The lane with Shiva has paladins and skeleton. And the lane without Shiva has spellblades and skeletons. So for this, I'm going to have two teams or discuss two separate teams that's going to handle each of these lanes. And so this is lane number 1. Kaing there is just for the image purposes because my main account is farming and this is my sub account. So this lane is the magic lane. Why do I call it magic lane? It's because most enemies here are weak to magic and strong against physical damage. So the ideal units for this lane is those with high magic attack and of course have magic attack type as well, and also high SPR, because the person who will be doing the most damage here is actually Shiva. She has a lot of AoE damage attacks, and the rest of these guys, the paladins and the skeletons, are just accessories to her that has blade bash and then disable, so they're not the huge damage dealer here. So I would suggest units with high SPR and high magic attack to clear out these accessories or small fries out of the way. So the paladins over there in the first layer or Shiva's lane is weak to magic but has high elemental resistances to everything else except fire, because as you can see in the image before, they were all fire units. And I think in brutal, not only that is that they have like 20% more resistance to other elements except fire. So with this, these are my with that in mind, you know, that elemental resistances in mind, these are my recommended units to go with. So I have Mediana as black mage and sub green mage, and Ayaka white mage, sub time mage, and Ildyra arithmetician and sub black mage. The reason is remember that there are non-elemental skills, meaning there are magic skills that are not tied to elements. Therefore, remember what I said earlier, the paladins are weak to magic, but they have high elemental resistances except for fire. So having ruin, which is a non-elemental, is just not gonna be affected by those elemental resistances and can make use of that magic weakness. So the damage will not be reduced because it's a non-elemental, nor can it be multiplied or increased because there's no element tied to it. It's just pure magic. That's why I subbed Mediana as a green mage. So not only that, Mediana as a black mage has access to flare, which is a high damaging non-elemental skill as well. And her limit break also has ice resist down. So I think it's maxed out at 30. I'm not sure because my limit break until now on Mediana is not maxed. So remember, I mentioned that the elemental resistances of those guys are around at 20% more on other elements except fire. So Mediana's LB kind of reduces the elemental resistances to the negative 20 becomes positive 7 once you drop that LB or limit break on those paladins. So her magic like blizzard and stuff are gonna work on them already after she drops that LB bomb on them. And yeah, she also has an ice rest up buff from her green mage, which is Barb Blizzard, useful as well. And she has high SPR. As I mentioned, though, if you get to kill those paladins on the first turn, it doesn't really matter if you have high def or you have a tanker, because those paladins are gonna be dead on the first turn. So that's important. You have to kill them on the first turn and you won't even need a tank. The second one on the team is Ayaka, because she has stop removal. She removes stop and increase your stop resistance with her limit break. Plus she's a competent healer. You just have to amp up her ice resistance because she's weak to ice and a prime target for Shiva. So yeah, she goes in tandem with Ildyra when it comes to heals. So Ildyra is good because she has AoE damage, and very good when you have her vision card on her. Both Ildyra and Mediana also has access to drain, which is a non-elemental skill, but they barely use it. So yeah, Ildyra helps with both or support both Mediana and Ayaka in terms of heals and damage. So she supports Mediana in damage and Mediana, whatever, in damage, and supports Ayaka in heals. This is my current setup actually, which I will show later. So yeah, this is my current team and I have been rolling with it quite well without a tank on this lane. My other suggested team would be the Mediana, Ayaka, and Rain team. This time, you have a magic tank. So same benefits from Mediana and Ayaka as mentioned above. But you will have Rain as both a physical and magic tank and dealing fire damage. Because remember, this is a Shiva challenge, and since she's ice, the common sense thing to do is actually just bring a fire unit. Unfortunately for me, I don't have one. I don't have any fire or pierce unit, so this is probably the worst challenge for me. But I do manage to auto it. So yeah, as I mentioned, if you have Rain, you have access to fire magic and you have a magic tank, which is a good thing, and he can also handle the physical attacks from the paladins, and you have access to heals that can support Ayaka. But of course, he's the most obvious person to bring for this lane. I would like to discuss other units that might be helpful. So spellblade, this is Marial. Marial is a replacement. Well, logically speaking, I haven't tested this yet, but this is just a thought that might be useful. Would be a great replacement for Rain or Ildyra, because she can serve as a magic tank and fizz tank. She has AoE magic skills to replace Ildyra, because if you sub her Arithmetician She can deal Banshigan among other stuff. She also has Cure from her Arithmetician and has hate generation abilities and passives, which makes her a good magic tank. She has high magic res and neutral to slash, so you can just slap on a siren on her and she'll be able to handle that slash attacks. And you don't need to put a vow of love or anything like that. She can generate that hate. Another would be a replacement for Mediana. This is Ishtola. She has AoE fire damage skill, and which is a large damage, which is pretty good. She has drain abilities. She has good SPR and magic resistance. Although she is very squishier compared to Mediana, so she must be paired with a tank and a healer. And since she's a white mage sub, she can do heals as well. She also has the CT manipulation skill, similar to Ildyra. So she's a pretty good Mediana replacement, but needs a little, more maneuvering since she's so squishy. This one is Naya, which can be a replacement for Ayaka. She's a white mage and can have a red mage sub. She has access to Fira for support damage, has high magic res, and has a lot of good heals. Very squishy, also needs a tank, and she has Esuna, which can help with stop. The only reason why I would prefer Ayaka over Naya would be, of course, besides that Ayaka is a UR, is that she has the limit break to remove stop and also increase stop resistance. Not to mention, I'm not sure, but I think Ayaka has a very high stop resistance, which is very good against Shiva. But on the other hand, Naya has the elemental advantage. So if you slap on a Victory Ribbon on herself, she might cast it and nullify stop, so that would be good. The next one is Adelard, which might be a good replacement for Rain, because he's a red mage which has magic reflex and has a spellblade sub increase in SPR and has fire damage skills. So he has hate generation and some access to heal skills. You can build his SPR and he has a high base slash res. So his magic res needs to be buffed also, because I think he has a negative 10% magic resistance. But with his red mage shop, that can be fixed. So I think he's a pretty viable replacement for Rain as a magic tank slash damager and a little bit of heals. Also, Halloween Leela can be a replacement for Ildyra. Although I wouldn't personally, I don't have Halloween Leela, but logic dictates that she might not be, she's not as effective here as Ildyra because she's a wind unit and she's weak to ice. Although she has evade, remember, actually Shiva has an accuracy buff, so she gets to hit accurately, so I wouldn't really rely on her evade. But that aside, if you equip her with Socia's TMR, it might help to build her ice resistance, and she has access to full life, more heals, and I think for her to be viable or more viable here, she needs Ildyra card for the Holy Knights raid, because if you're gonna dish out a Roga against ice units, I don't think that would be a good idea. I wouldn't really recommend her. That's why she's at the bottom of this list, but she still might be good for the heals and a little bit of damage. Moving on to my recommended or suggested vision cards, I would suggest the Shiva VC. primarily because of the increased ice resistance and the good mag stat. This is good for Mediana or Ayaka. Blossoms in the Dark is actually, I think, a vision card made for this raid, specifically for non-fire units, because it has a Ruinja skill and a Man-Eater upon magic attack. Not to mention the Thornberry card is all. It's not here, but I would recommend also the Thornberry card. Maybe I'll just explain later. Yeah, I'll explain later. So, Blossoms in the Dark, Man-Eater on magic attacks, and as I've mentioned earlier, and I think I've repeated it like tons of times already, those paladins have high elemental resistance but low magic attack rest. So, Ruinja is gonna do a lot of damage to it because as a non-elemental, it ignores the elemental resistances and just goes for pure magic damage. Trousseau is also good, increased mag up damage, fairly obvious, and Winter Holiday Party. This card is pretty good, especially if you have Ildyra, because Shiva does a lot of area of attacks, and that helps a lot in mitigating the damage because I think it has an AoE attack rest of around 20. But yeah, besides that, Holy Knight's Raid does wonders if you have like an arithmetician around. But I think a replacement for this would be the Blood Moon card, which would have like a 15 area of attack resistance and less magic damage. But yeah, area of attack resistance is important here because Shiva will be dealing a lot of those. So yeah. Suggested TMR. My suggested TMR would be Victory Ribbon. To nullify, stop, and disable, leaving stun as the only annoying thing you have to deal with. So I would suggest to put this on Ayaka so that, yeah, nullify, so that automatically the Mediana or Ildyra won't have problems against stop. And another would be Sacred Step. I would put this on Ildyra so that she has additional SPR and speed, and maybe you want her to use a barrier, but with how the AI works, they're not really gonna use the barrier in an opportune time. But if you're manualing it, then you might want to use this. Magic String, because of course Man-Eater is always good. It's always good. As for suggested espers, we have Siren. Remember that there are paladins and skeletons. Yes, paladins and skeletons that deal slash damage. So you want to put Siren on either Mediana or Ildyra, but I would suggest to put it on Mediana because she's much squishier, so that she can get that slash rest and not die from 2 hits of a skeleton or a paladin. The next would be Shiva. Good for Ayaka or Mediana. I mainly use this for the speed stat and the mag stat. We need good speed espers. Cactuar, good for Ayaka or Mediana because of the magic and Man-Eater. And lastly, Diabolos, good for Ildyra and Mediana for mag and slash rest. As you've noticed, I would suggest the slash rest espers like Siren and Mediana because they're going to be your frontliners, both of them, while Ayaka does buffing in the back. So most likely Ayaka's not gonna get hit much by slash, but those two are. So I would suggest slapping on Siren or Diabolos on the two. Notes. Only bring mag units with non-elemental or elemental resistance reducing skills. An example is Ffbe. Ffbe is not good. I wouldn't bring her because all of her skills are elemental, like Holy is light, and then Energy Buster is earth, Earth Staff is earth, and all her other stuff is earth. Yeah, you can bring, except for fire mag units. I think those are good, but other than that, you might want to bring magic units that have non-elemental AoE skills or single target, like Ruin, and skills that can lower resistances down. So another note, if you're planning to go with Victory Ribbon on your healers, turn off the buffs, because she's not gonna cast the Victory Ribbon not until she gets all of the buffs on. So that's all my advice for this magic lane. Now let's move on to the next lane, the physical one. So this is the physical lane. So most of these spellblades are weak to pierce, but as you can see here, we have a fire spellblade and a lightning spellblade, which means the fire spellblade is gonna be weak to water, and the lightning spellblade is gonna be weak to earth pierce. So we have two skeletons that are there to disable you. What I would suggest, if you cannot one-hit the spellblades or the skeletons like me, because I don't have a death pierce, sadly I don't have a death piercing unit or a pierce unit or a fire unit, you might want to have a tank, because if the bandits use taunting spell, your magic units are going to move towards the Phys Lane to attack the spellblades, which will kind of waste their skills and AP and make them targets for the enemies on the other lane. So what I would suggest is lead them to the right, meaning place a tank or one of your units with a vow of love, or if they have hate, like innate hate, you might want to put it to the like corner or the part where, you know, it's the away from Shiva, so that you can lead the spellblades away, out of range from your magic unit, so that they won't attack it. So yeah, these guys are weak to pierce and for specific elements, which I will discuss what I would suggest for it. So here are my suggested. I would suggest Ffbe and Venera, or I would rather suggest Whisper and Venera. So for Ffbe and Venera, the reason why I want Ffbe is because I wanted to have kills and Esuna for Venera, and a good tank, you know, the one that can take on slash and dish out heals. But then again, sometimes Ffbe's AI can be stupid. That's why I prefer Whisper and Venera. So as I've said, equip your unit that will serve as your tank with Vow of Love, so you can lead away the spellbladers. And then Venera must have bells. This is my setup, okay? Must have bells. The reason why I bring Venera compared to Ketone, I did try bringing Ketone, is because she has an AoE, but Ketone's good too. Ketone's good, but Venera has an AoE Heavenly Blade that can dish out damage and kill, like damage multiple units at the same time. For Whisper and Vinera, Whisper is like the budget duane, because similar to duane, which is a double cost unit, she has 50% disable resistance, which is good because you're not gonna have even though Vinera gets disabled, you're not gonna worry that Whisper will be. So she can back up Vinera with fist damage and use Samurai Sub to have access to low cost AP skills. So, and of course equip her with Vol. My other suggestion, this is just my suggestion, would have Eileen and Glaciella on this lane, because as I've said, it's a counter to those spellblades. You want to take out those spellblades fast in order for your magic units not to get distracted by their taunting spell. If you're not gonna equip your units with Vol, make sure you kill them in one hit, because if they cast that taunting spell and they're, you know, in range of your magic units, they're gonna waste their AP and waste your time, basically. So they have potential to one-hit delete those spellblades. For me, that's the important thing, killing those spellblades fast. And this is the I guess the strongman, the guys with, you know, strong physical attacks, Emperors. So Cain can one-hit delete the bandit, the spellblade bandit. Actually, a good Cain can. And then Knight of Ruin plus Cain can literally demolish that lane pretty easy, because it's good because Super Sterne has disable resistance. So he's a good option too. Sterne Duane combo is good because of disable resistance and also slash chaining, and as well as dark chain. So optimal, but both are double cost. But if you have them both, then good for you. I don't have any one of them. Maybe I should build. Whisper Duane is also a good option because both has 50% slash resist and can combo dark and slash chain. So those are the pretty obvious ones. Other useful units would be Xmas Mashery. The reason she's not as good as Glaciella and Eileen, this is just my opinion, please don't crucify me, is because she's a fire unit and there's not much ice units on that side compared to Shiva's side. But I think once she's done with that lane, she can be very helpful against Shiva with her archer long range. But I don't have an Xmas Smashery, but it's pretty obvious that she's gonna be good for the Shiva lane. On Shiva herself, maybe not the lane per se, but Shiva herself. Elde is pretty good, same reason as Xmas Smashery, and he has a Smog Sub, which is good against the skeletons, also good against Shiva most likely because he's fire. Next would be Victoria, yeah. Same as the two above, but she has the elemental disadvantage because there's a fire spellblade. So less advisable than the other two, but she's still pierced, so she's still gonna be good somehow. Ramada will be good as a replacement for Glaciella, while what's this guy's name again? this guy, sorry, I forgot your name. Oh my god. I didn't know. Okay. He's gonna be good as a replacement for Eileen. You know, they both have the same purpose. So, suggested vision cards. My suggested vision cards would be Ifrit for fire units, Snowy Field if you don't have Demon Wall or Titan, and Titan would be better if you have it compared to Snowy Field if your Pierce unit is not Cain, or if you have Cain and do not have Demon Wall. If you have Demon Wall and Cain, just put them together. And Duane VC, so these are grouped together because if you have you just have to pick one of these cards, don't bring all of them. Or maybe you can get Titan and Demon Wall together, but yeah. For Slash, this as you can see, this set is for Pierce, but for Slash we have Duane VC, which is the best for any 2 dark unit comp because it also has magic resistance, which can help out the other lane. Exorcist, if you have 2 slashers paired together, you can pair this one with Duane VC or Fenrir. And then Agayon, if you have 2 slashers, and you can pair this with Fenrir. Why am I pairing things with Fenrir? Because remember, those ladies on the other side of the map, the magic ones, need all the help they can get, because if you don't have a magic tank, you can lose Fenrir if you have a magic tank, but it would be better if you do, just to help the squishy units survive on that lane. Because this lane, remember, I don't worry much about the physical lane because that's just 4 against 2, but on the magic lane, that's I think 5 or even 7, because there's 2 other units that spawn after you kill some. That's 7 versus 3, and one of them is a freaking Esper, so they need all the help they can get. That's why I put Fenrir in here. But if you're pretty confident in how your units tank the magic damage, then be my guest to change it. Suggested Espers, I suggest Ifrit for fire pierce units like Xmas Smashery and Elde, Titan for pierce units because of Man Eater and SPR, Odin any unit because it has Man Eater, or specifically slash units, I guess, because this has slash attack. But if you spec it differently, like slash rest plus Man Eater, then it's better that way. Golem if you want a tank here. So yeah, pretty straightforward with the physical team. As for TMR, I would just say just bring bells and Aldoa's apron thing. Is that an apron? I don't know what it says. I think it's an apron. But just bring Aldoa's apron and Ziza bells, and you're all good. You're pretty much all good. This lane is the easy lane compared to the other one. So that's all for the physical lane. Oh, before I forget, I almost forgot. Thornberry. If you don't have Whisper and you don't have Duane, I would suggest getting Thornberry, because that card, or the cards on the summon pool right now, is actually made for this raid, because Thornberry has magic resistance and disable resistance slapped onto it. So yeah, I would suggest getting it's a suggested vision card along with the Blossom of the Night, I think it's called. And also the other vision card for the one with Glaciella. But because it has ice rest and area of attack resistance, but I would prefer the other card, the other UR card, instead of that one, because it's that card, the one with Glaciella, is just too specific for this raid. I mean, it's area of attack, ice rest, and HP, and it's, you know, it's like a too specific card scenario for me, so I wouldn't really like to have it that much. Here is my auto team demo. As you can see, I've equipped everyone with what they're supposed to, I think they should have, and I put Ifrit on Ayaka just to give her a little bit of resistance, even though she's not gonna use those stats. And yeah, see how it goes. Vinera casts Revitalize, AP Restore, and this is Cosmo Plume, which I think does the, what's the word, the lower attack rest first before doing, or lower the ice rest first before doing the damage. And that's Ildyra, does support damage, and Ayaka casting haste. I did turn it off before, but I turn it on again because it might be more useful, because she's gonna cast, I think, the Victory Ribbon in the next round. Tandaga Blade, that's fine. And there's Blizzaga, Heavenly Blade, AoE, Holy Knight's Purge, and that immobilizes one of the Paladins. Blizzaga, good stuff. Arm attack to disable, didn't proc. Yen. So both Vinera and Whisper can stack Dart and Slash chains. So there goes the Victory Ribbon. Heavenly Blade again, kills one of them. AoE. Blizzard, kills that. Waterga. So far we're doing good because no one got disabled. Blizzard. This is the LB that increases the stop rest. Ruin. Would be better if it was Ruinja, but I have the card, but I'm not done maxing it yet. Zantet Skin. Diamond Dust. Does a lot of damage on Ayaka. Holy Knight's Purge. So they're done with the bandits. Ruin. Curaga. So we're almost done. That's pretty easy. Everything went well here, but sometimes, you know, the AI fucks up, or you get disabled, you get stopped, but this team still manages to push through from experience. So that's all, guys. Thank you for watching the video, and I hope you have a great new year. Stay tuned for the next video. Ciao.